what are the institutions that have been established by government? Nigerian Agricultural Cooperative and Rural Development Bank. This institution has had three names. It started as Nigerian Cooperative Bank in 1973. By 76, 77, it changed its name to Nigerian Agricultural and Cooperative Bank. And by 2002, when it merged with FIP, Family Economic Advancement Program, and People's Bank, when it merged with these two institutions, it changed its name to Nigerian Agricultural Cooperative and Rural Development Bank. It's still in operation till date. But one unfortunate thing about it is that when it was established, the government had an ambitious motive. But as I'm talking to you now, both the central bank and the federal government have not been able to make up the 50 billion naira that is supposed to be its capital base. I think somewhere I mentioned how much that they have contributed so far, just 23 billion for all these years, between 73 and date. Then you have River Basin Development Authority, 1975 to date. Almost all the zones, the 6 major zones in Nigeria has one, or more than one. River Basin Development Authority is meant to create irrigation facilities for farmers, give credit facilities, and help in production of seedlings for farmers to use. There was also the National Grain Production Company for grain expansion. There was the Directorate of Foods, Roads, and Rural Infrastructure, 1986 to 93. This also was involved in creating roads, infrastructure, production of food, giving credit, provision of electricity, water, and so on. But it came to a close when another military regime came up. Then the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation, 1987 to date, is an insurance company because some banks, in fact most banks, refuse to take the risk of investing in agriculture. So the government felt that the way to cage that is to put up an insurance company specifically for agriculture. Though I learned that they have even gone beyond agriculture to do other things about human beings, vehicles, and so on to insure them. So it's not only restricted to agri insurance, it's also open to other insurance businesses. This is to help put the farmer back to his state, assuming there was any natural disaster or any loss occasioning because of production. Then there was the National Agricultural Land Development Authority, 1991. This also was a specific government policy established to help farmers acquire land. When they saw the rigors people passed through, the bureaucracy people passed through, as a result of the Land Use Act. I mentioned that in 2007 I applied for a CFO for a small plot of land as I'm talking to you now. In fact, I can't trace where my documents are as I'm talking to you now. What more a farmer to get land for his practice? Then People's Bank of Nigeria, it didn't last long, in as much as it eventually folded up in 2002. Between 1990 and 2002, it was more or less a shadow of itself. The government that established it left office by late 1992. So by the same late 1992, a new regime came. It was a shadow of itself till it was eventually merged with FIP and Nigerian Agricultural Cooperative Bank. It was also meant for the urban poor. It was meant specifically for the urban poor who are engaged in small-scale businesses in urban areas to help them run their businesses. Some of them are into agricultural marketing, some are into processing, and so on.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
You talked about the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation.
Yeah.
Are all the farmers members? Are they like beneficiaries?
Well, the major people that benefit from Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation are those who have something to do with borrowing from commercial banks. It's a precondition for you to get the loan. Or if you're also benefiting from government loan business. It's a precondition. You have to show that you have insured your farm for that year before you can benefit. So it's not all farmers, to answer your question directly, it's not all farmers that are linked up to it. It's those that have something to do. But ordinarily, every farmer is supposed to get linked up to it. But unfortunately, these are people who cannot eke out a living. What more going to do insurance? You have a certain premium to pay. Are you feeling what I'm saying? And depending on the size of your farm, you have a certain premium to pay. People doesn't even have money to farm. What more going to do insurance? Those who are doing it, I would say more or less, they are compelled to do it because they are looking forward to benefiting financially from the institution that gives credit.
I have another question.
Yes.
You said that there is food insecurity in Nigeria.
What?
Food insecurity. There is food insecurity in Nigeria.
Food insecurity, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the major cause of that?
We are coming to that. All these policies, programs, and schemes I've mentioned have never lived up to expectation. That is the major problem, coupled with the population. When the population is increasing at a certain rate, the food production is decreasing at a certain rate. So that takes us to another page where we talk about the budgetary allocation. Budgetary allocation during the first third from budgetary allocation has always fallen short of policy intentions. For instance, during the first to third 1962 to 1980 development plan periods, the federal government budgeted 3.57 billion, but only 2.41 was actually released for the sector, for the agricultural sector. The record also showed that in the first plan, 11.6% of the budget was allocated to agriculture, but only 9.8% was released for use. In the second plan, 9.9% was budgeted, but only 17% was actually spent. That is, I couldn't lay my hands on the actual release, but whatever that was released, only 70% of it was given out. Then the third plan, out of 7.2% allocation that was budgeted, 7.1 was released for the period. The table that followed showed the budgetary allocation from 1990 to 2002.